Hello YouTube. Welcome to the video. Just a reminder that no one is forcing you to watch this video. If you think this video is about you or for you, you're probably wrong, and this is your opportunity to click away, to scroll to another video, or go do something completely different with your time. We're going to be doing some educational content, mostly about nonprofits. There's a website, azbwb.org/volunteer, and this is a Google form survey that one would click on if one were to want to volunteer or maybe join some organization like this. Um, Carrie, I would like to say hello to you. I believe that you're the Carrie that signed documents, including the 2024 annual report for this nonprofit corporation. And just to make sure I have the right person, I think this is you. Um, and hoping we can possibly have a conversation. There may be some things that you need to know, and there is information that could be pertinent to your involvement in this type of nonprofit corporation. Um, and then we also have with I guess you could say special guest thing is there's the annual report. The annual report going back. We also have to mention Morgan, who looks like is still listed as the president here. And Morgan, I'm sure you're a lovely person. You look like you really like to make a difference in the world, and you look like you care about community. And when I read things about the nonprofit that you helped launch, there's a lot of language about that it's a community leadership program. So I'd love to see from Carrie and other people that are on the board, maybe some leadership, but really it could be a little bit less than a love to see. So, Morgan, if you're not on the board or anything, I mean, hopefully this type of thing gets updated and gets the correct information. It's just where I found information on this nonprofit. But I think Carrie is, signed documents, and so uh, we'll see. Might be might be in your best interest to have a conversation. Um, if you found this information, you may be edified on some things that could be pertinent to what you're doing. Um, so, one of the things that a lot of people don't know is one of the board members, just saying, claimed that they have law enforcement experience and was telling that to other higher ups at BWB. Don't know if that's true or not. We do have them saying that they were a vet tech for 22 years somewhere else online. Uh, how they fit in law enforcement experience along with being a vet tech, unsure, but um, as we've seen, when this person is asked for any evidence of things that they claim, they have told people that they owe no evidence and to kindly fuck off. Um, be prepared that there's an individual who's been caught spreading a lot of lies, um, a lot of lies all over, and at least in one case, when a fellow burner asked for an ounce of any evidence that support literally any of the accusations you made, they say, I owe you no evidence, kindly fuck off. Um, so you probably are not aware that this type of thing has happened, and um, well, now you know. Um, in addition, you may be aware that Ranger Fulcrum, aka Corinne Vivers, was after investigation was dismissed from BlackRock Rangers for bad behavior, essentially. Um, Unneeded things redacted. If you ask me, maybe we can talk about it. So Carrie, let's talk about some of the lies, because if you're not aware, um, this person, ex Ranger, was dismissed after an investigation of breaking essentially their code of conduct. And Corinne was removed from being a BlackRock Ranger. Um, the other redacted information uh, may be relevant to your organization, although that might be something we could have maybe a conversation, a Zoom meeting about, something like that. But what you might want to know is that despite the fact that Corinne was dismissed, and I have also verified this with someone else, Corinne went online to lie to a bunch of everybody that they know, um, saying that they resigned from their position. Now, while this might not be seem like a big deal, what you have is you essentially have a board member. Um, I don't know if you see them as a coworker or a partner, but you have a board member lying to a bunch of other people in Burning Man, who right now are not aware that Corinne was actually dismissed and removed. I can give you more of the details, but uh, basically breaking code of conduct in a pretty bad way with the Rangers. But instead of either just not saying anything or maybe different options, they went online to lie about that. Um, this is one of about a dozen lies that they gave, and um, thing is, I was like interested in understanding some more nonprofit information, and some of this, if you're not already aware of, you, Carrie, might become more aware of um, soon. I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying it's possible, and we should probably like. It'd be great if we can have a conversation about what is going on um, here with this BWB Arizona. I think you're like on the board or something. Um, so let's have some leadership. It says BWB Arizona is a community leadership program, and I, you know as well as I do, you know you're listed. So let's have a conversation. But thing is, this may or may not become relevant. But I actually ended up finding out some information, and once again, this may or may not be relevant. Um, I made a whole video that I guess I'll link about how to do the right thing. And Carrie, you're an adult. I'm sure you already have an idea of how to do the right thing, but if you're unsure, I made two videos actually that might be like little refreshers. Um, they involve ethics, and I think most people, once they're adults, they understand ethics pretty well, but you never know. Um, So this is one you should never assume your nonprofit will not be sued because just because of its 501c3 status. Um, and uh, like just because your 501c3 says having a charitable purpose will not protect you if an employee commits a criminal offense. Um, and the thing is, it's not very difficult to look up some of the rules. There's this thing called the FTC that governs quite a few things. Um, and we should probably have a conversation about what's going on over there. Um, I think, let's see, let's get to the details. If there's a proper way to complete volunteer background checks, uh, if you fail to properly screen volunteers, serious consequences can result. Um, so, what does that mean? So, like, and this can go even for board members. You might not want to be have board members that lie. And we also know that posing as law enforcement is a crime, but it's like it can be good to understand like what are the processes um, that nonprofits have to follow. Legal considerations for nonprofit organizations. Uh, so this is governed by the FTC. It's the Fair Credit Reporting Act. But here's the thing. It says nonprofits, they need to provide an individual with proper disclosure of your intent to perform a background check. And you must obtain written consent before doing so. Additionally, you must follow something called the adverse action process if the results of a background check can impact your decision to move forward. Um, the other big thing is that if you do run a background check on someone, that that sensitive information. It can't be shared like beyond your organization. It can't be shared with like third parties and stuff. And your organization can get in big trouble if you do that. So basically, to summarize this, you need, according to the law, you need consent. If you don't believe me, um, we can keep going. It wasn't hard to find this information. Um, okay, background checks require. This is for, I believe this one's also for nonprofits. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Um, Background checks require a formal policy. You can't just do them willy nilly. Okay. This is all covered in the law. And in my other video, I go through the law a little bit more. But essentially, uh, you have to have a policy. You can't just run background checks and then decide later. Like, y'all have to, like, a nonprofit has to have, like, some guidance. So, um, and this is the big thing. Um, there has to be a release form signed by volunteers that you run background checks on, or potential employees, things like that. So you can't, your organization, Carrie, cannot just run background checks on people just because you feel like it, just because you met them once, or even if they want to volunteer. You need to obtain something called consent. Now, I know that the BWB, like larger organization, releases intellectual property for your organization to use. That includes the Burners Without Borders name, the Burners Without Borders logo. Since I do believe you're an official chapter, you've had to sign, your organization has had to sign things, basically following some policies in order to use that intellectual property. Um, and like, we should have a conversation about your policies and whether you're following the law. Um, so the thing is, Burners Without Borders, among other things, still is supposed to follow the 10 principles of Burning Man. If you're not aware, a lot of people talk about consent as the 11th principle, let's say. But some, radical participation, let's say, civic action, leadership. Let's do some of that here. So, volunteers, but employees, anyone you're bringing onto the organization, they need a consent form to be signed. You have to notify them before you run a background check. Secondly, Carrie, if um, now I read the law, and these are just summaries, but basically what it says is that if your background check um, gives you any information, that you have to give the person not only a chance to respond to the information that you find, but you actually have to disclose the report that you made. Like, what company did you use for the background check, and that you have to provide the actual report that your group got to the person, because otherwise you could just make stuff up, right? And this is part of the law. um, Once again, consent or no consent, that is the question. um, so any sort of background checks for employment or volunteering require consent of the candidate. Okay. Um, like, there's a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Um, so FCRA for short, background checks qualify as consumer reports. So the applicant's permission is necessary. You can't just go running around doing background checks on people just because you met them once. In addition, um, so you can get in big trouble for that. And let's have a conversation about whether, we need to find out if your organization is following these policies. There are watchdog groups, and if you're unsure what to do, look in the description. Go watch my videos on how to make ethical decisions. Okay? Any questions at all? They can be answered there, and there's some ideas on how to make ethical decisions. Doing the right thing. Um, and then, let's talk. I'm sure it won't be too hard to find a way to get in contact, and let's have a conversation. Once again, I believe this is the website, and if you want to volunteer, looks like you a person would click this, and there would be a record of them wanting to volunteer, some kind of record. Uh, and but even if they want to volunteer, if you run a background check on them, you need to have a separate consent form in order to do that. I looked a lot closer at the law, and yeah, it's not good if you're not doing that. And I actually found, so that law, the FCRA, is governed. It's under the FTC, the FTC.gov. Um, and there's a lot of good and interesting information at ftc.gov, but what I found out was I actually have a really simple way to report issues. And you can actually, like, you might want to do this. You can actually protect your community by reporting fraud, scams, and bad business practices. Um, and what I found out, like, the report's fast and easy to make. And what I found out was it says over here, it says, we use and share reports with our law enforcement partners to help with investigations. Um, Tell us what happened, to, report some entity. And wow, look all over the nation. And where was that other? Oh, yeah, your report is shared with more than 2,800 law enforcers. Um, and the thing is, yeah, look at that ethics thing, and it has a couple examples to go through. And yeah, hopefully we can talk. And I know that your name, Carrie, didn't come up on the group here, um, but I did see that you're on, like, the state documents. I assume that this was not updated yet, um, but uh, hey, if I have the wrong person, Carrie, like, just let me know. If you're not actually on the board, then also definitely let me know, if you're not on the board. So.